Stanley was making
Oh, come now. You don't want it to end already, do you? Why don't we begin again? Wait, how did you do that?
Muy buenas, compañeros.
Muy buenas.
Bienvenidos al canal de Estamos Jugando SP. Y aquí nos tenéis una vez más. Y esta vez con un juego nuevo. Un juego que no necesitará más capítulos, porque en un solo capítulo mi hermano se lo va a pasar. Él es el que está al mando de este juego.
Sí, lo he creado yo.
Exacto, lo ha creado él. No, hombre, mentira. Es un juego indie.
Un juego indie, es una modificación de Half-Life 2 que pinta bastante interesante.
Sí.
Y se llama The Stanley Parable.
Exacto.
Mira qué curioso que aquí pone estás jugando.
Está jugando SP. Así que bueno, sin entreteneros más, vamos a comenzar con la partida, porque sabemos y suponemos que queréis verlo ya. Así que, ¿qué te parece si le pinchamos a comenzar partida?
Venga, que sangre.
Que sangre, que sangre.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Bueno, ya habéis escuchado la historia. Es un trabajador que recibía órdenes por su ordenador y
Exacto.
le decía exactamente qué hacer en su teclado, que era presionar teclas.
Era ese su trabajo, un trabajo inútil, un trabajo para tontos. Solamente pulsar teclas con el dedo índice.
Sí.
Y ese era su trabajo desde que entraba hasta que salía.
Pero bueno, por lo visto le gustaba su trabajo y era feliz, así que aquí estaba.
Exacto.
Pues nada, vamos a salir.
Así que
ahora mismo está un poco despistado porque no le llegan.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Y no hay nadie por aquí. Así que vamos a ir a la sala de reuniones.
Todo vacío, a ver qué pone en ese ordenador.
Acceso al ordenador. Vamos, que ponga la clave y todo el rollo ese.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Pues bien, por lo que
Está
estamos
hablando
viendo...
como en pasado, ¿no?
Sí, y en el juego pues... vamos, por así
Yet
decirlo...
there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Pues eso, que por así decirlo tenemos que seguir los pasos del narrador, ¿no? Porque
Sí.
es como una historia, ¿no?
Coming
Que
to
va
a
contando.
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Y bien, está la parte del jefe, un jefe con muy mal gusto, porque las paredes las ha revestido así muy cutres. Ahí no me gusta.
Como si es mayor, pues le gustará este estilo.
Stepping
Pues sí.
into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Pues vaya.
Ojo,
Lo que
tiene por aquí
tenía-
escondido, ¿no?
Exacto, vaya lo que tenía, lo que estaba ocultando.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Por lo visto vamos a encontrar rápido la respuesta, por lo que
Stanley
ha
walked straight
dicho.
ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
¿Y esto por qué está escrito aquí? Escape.
Pues no lo sé, está así como escrito con lápiz de color.
La sigamos.
Bueno, sí. Hagamos caso al narrador.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Pues sí, vamos a tener la fuerza para averiguarlo. ¿Tú qué dices?
Hombre, viendo dónde he llegado, pues ya interesa.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building. Stanley's co-workers.
Oh, Dios mío.
The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen. And Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Controlaba a sus trabajadores.
Uy, esa pantalla,
Errónea, ¿no? ¿O qué es?
eso parece. A ver, ¿cuál es la suya?
Vamos a ver. ¿Qué?
247.
247 era la suya, ¿no?
Digo 427, esta.
Vamos a ver, la del medio. Ahí está, la bonita mesa, la bonita habitación de trabajo de Stanley.
Vaya. Ya, pues sigamos. Esto ascensor por lo que parece.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Esto es lo que dicen, ¿no? Que le han podido manipular la mente.
Hombre, es que yo
Ya he
te
visto,
digo...
aquí hay uno despedido, según pone.
Vaya. Pues
Que
eso
no- que no se ve quién era.
que eso te iba a decir, que con razón... Vamos, ya decía
No.
yo que el
He
trabajo que
refused to
tenía
believe
era
it.
una mierda,
He
que cómo
couldn't
podía
accept
gustarle.
it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded
ese botón
from this
que hay al
very
lado?
place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Por eso estaba feliz con su trabajo. Pues nada, vamos a acabar con esto, ¿no?
Pues sí.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Pues nada, parece que ya hemos salido aquí.
Sí, que por cierto, digo una cosa. Qué alegría.
Tanta
Estaba-
máquina y de golpe aquí naturaleza.
Sí.
Stanley
una
felt
sensación
the
de
cool
tranquilidad,
breeze upon his skin, the feeling of
A ver, mira para atrás
liberation,
un momento.
the immense
puedo.
possibility
No
of the
maneja la
new
máquina.
path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Ahora sí era
Entonces ya
realmente
está.
feliz.
Joder, qué corto el juego. Pues nada. ¿Qué?
¿Y los créditos? Se supone que todos los juegos, ya sean grandes o pequeños, tienen que tener un mínimo de créditos, ¿no?
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
¿Cómo? ¿Qué dice el narrador? ¿Cómo me va a seguir alguien? Esto es lo mismo de siempre. Uy, he apagado la tele, la pantalla que dio.
¿Esto qué es? ¿Como volviendo al pasado o qué?
Pues no
When
estoy seguro.
Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Venga, vamos.
Se está volviendo a repetir todo.
Qué
A ver
para-
si estás
qué
atrapado en una
paranoia, ¿no?
especie de bucle.
Bueno, a
Yet there was not
bucle
a single
parece.
person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Entonces no es un bucle, porque si dice otra vez aquí...
Estamos siendo controlados.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Pues ¿sabes dónde vas a ir? Donde ponía escape. A ver si lo escribió el mismo Stanley intentando escapar.
Pues vamos a ver, porque lógica tiene.
Es como si estuviera encerrado en un sueño o algo.
Stepping into his manager's office,
que este me lo sé.
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Con razón se
Stanley was
sabía
in
la
such a
clave.
rush to get through the story as quickly
Mira
as
lo que dice.
possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of
Se ha
anxiety isn't
mosqueado.
healthy. So he relaxed for a few moments with
Mira,
some
nos-
calming new age music.
Nos quieren relajar. Ya están jugando con nosotros, pero no, ya somos conscientes. Más o menos de que está pasando algo raro. Más raro de lo que parecía.
Pues sí. Supuestamente Stanley
Feeling
estaba
soothed
libre.
and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward, into the opened passageway.
Pues eso, supuestamente Stanley era libre. ¿Por qué aquí otra vez? Es que es es como una especie de experimento. ¿Sabe a lo que me recuerda? Al Portal.
Pues sí que recuerda un poco al Portal.
La forma de manejar la máquina
Stanley
al
walked
humano,
straight
al
ahead through the
experimento.
large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Esta vez
Te
no
voy a
vamos a
hacer
caer.
caso, te voy a
Vamos a
hacer
ir
caso.
por ahí.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Como que la muerte.
Vamos, imagino que el narrador, vamos, que al narrador no le hará gracia que hagas lo que tú quieras.
O sea, te voy a seguir.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around
No
and
ves,
get
no le
back
hace
on
gracia,
track.
intenta convencerte.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Hostia,
Hombre, la verdad es que da mal rollo esa luz roja ahí al final.
bien no pinta, ¿eh?
Sigue para adelante. Si por el otro lado ya sabemos lo que nos vamos a encontrar. Vamos a probar ahí por aquí. En el Portal escapabas también, ¿no?
Espérate, es que no veo el fondo.
¿No escapabas también del Portal?
Sí,
Pues aquí será más o menos lo mismo.
no veo el fondo. ¡Hostia!
¡Dios! Sí, hombre. Sí, hombre.
¿Cómo?
Y no está muerto. Por cierto,
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and
Cojones.
closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
No.
hostias, esta es la muerte. Al final
No,
era
no,
la
no,
que
no,
te
no.
Sí,
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
no lo entiendo. ¿Y este nuevo narrador?
Pues no tengo ni idea. ¿Qué es eso de ahí?
El
And
título del
yet it
juego.
would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance,
que sea la
death
más pura,
becomes
¿no?
meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
El ordenador de
Es un
Stanley.
museo esto.
Entonces no habían trabajadores. Era solo Stanley. Es un experimento. ¿No?
Pues es que no estoy seguro, eso parece.
Ahí aquí montado como una especie de museo.
Recuerda esto un poco a esa película de Jim Carrey,
Ah, vale. ¿Cómo se llamaba la película esa?
el show de Truman.
Ahí está. Pues sí, también. El estilo es el mismo.
Espérate, pero ¿y dónde tengo que ir? Espérate.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
No tengo ni idea de qué está hablando. Pero bueno, yo debía darle a off. No sé para qué, pero...
No te han dejado
Can you
darle al off.
see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen
Otra
to me.
vez.
You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail.
No.
Push escape and press quit. There's
¿Lo
no
hacemos?
way to beat
Hombre,
this
por
game.
supuesto.
As long as you move forward, you'll be walking
O se volverá a
someone
parar.
else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose.
No, páralo.
¿Volver a comenzar?
Sí,
Ok.
claro. Yo qué sé, madre mía.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Pues bien,
No
sí,
matter
sí.
lloviendo,
how
¿no?
Stanley looked, he
Eso
couldn't
parece.
find a trace of his co-workers.
Pues eso, tú habla, narrador, tú habla. Que ya sabemos por
Espérate,
dónde vas.
Lo voy a despistar o algo.
Ya sabemos por dónde vas, narrador de mierda. Que quieres controlarnos.
Cierra la puerta.
No
yo.
somos tu experimento, lo sabes, ¿no, narrador? Ey, ¿qué es eso?
No sé, yo le he dado. Espérate, ¿y si cierro la puerta antes de pasar?
Oh, and I guess this is where Stanley felt he needed to be right now, in this little hallway. Here, with no distractions, to study room 417. Not to actually enter it. No. That would be far too forward. Stanley wanted to know it from the outside. To see it not just with his eyes, but with his heart. He would know room 417 as no man or woman had ever known an office before. That ladder over there. Oh, and that little picture of a horizon or something. It's all just a never-ending parade of joy for Stanley.
Pasa, ¿no?
Aquí no pasa nada.
No, pero a la habitación, ¿no?
Apparently not.
¿O no?
No se
No.
puede.
No puedes abrir ninguna de las puertas que te encuentras.
Parece
Que no te lleve al mismo sitio.
¿Qué va? Espérate, ahora voy a pasar por la derecha. ¿Qué
When Stanley
cojones?
came to a set of two
Que no.
open
A la
doors,
izquierda
it was
tus
not the correct
cojones.
way to the meeting
Vamos a entrar a la
room, and
derecha.
Stanley knew it
A ver
perfectly
qué hay.
well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
De alguna forma intenta reescribir la historia, intentando
No.
llevarte a donde quiere,
No
¿no?
voy a ir por ahí.
Stanley was so bad
No?
at following directions,
No voy a ir por
it's
ahí.
incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the
Me lleva
fact
pa'lante,
is that
¿no?
the story has been about nothing but
No sé.
you all this time.
Pero de momento lo veo muy
¿Y si
al
salto?
estilo Portal.
¿Y si
Someone
salto?
you've forgotten about.
¿Salto o qué?
Sí, porque sí.
Don't try- What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration
Claro,
for
te estaba
others?
llevando ahí,
Are you
tú no has
that
movido
convinced
eso.
that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
¿Y estas habitaciones?
No sé, pues más habitaciones, todo está lleno de habitaciones.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
No.
Pues vamos a ir por la azul. El azul inspira
Perhaps you
confianza.
misunderstood. Stanley walked
Nos
through
ha
the red
tirado para atrás.
door.
Que no, que yo
Por
quiero
la
por la
puerta
azul.
red, ha probado en inglés, pero no. Vamos a ir por la puerta azul. Porque el color
I
azul
still
inspira
don't think we're
confianza.
communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Espérate. Mira a ver si está la puerta por otro lado. A ver, ve por aquella. Ahí está, la puerta azul.
Mírala.
All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
¿Sabes lo que son estos bloques, no?
Sí,
Falta de
que
textura.
Exacto, que todavía no está construido todo. O sea, todo es un
Espacio de
ordenador.
oficina, pone aquí.
No, todo es como un ordenador, una programación.
Eso parece. ¿Y dónde
¿Sabes? Mira, te voy a decir una cosa. Tanto la primera puerta como la puerta del medio están terminadas. Y la última puerta, que supuestamente parece la más fea, la que inspira menos confianza, yo creo que es por la que deberíamos ir, ¿no?
voy? ¿Tiro por aquí?
La deja así fea como diciendo, por esta ahí se
No,
va a ser
no la
mal.
leí lo que ha dicho, que iba a enseñarme una zona de pruebas y eso.
A ver, tira para atrás. A ver las otras dos.
Estas son las de siempre.
Ah,
Mira,
vale.
Voy a tirar por aquí.
Que es la de la izquierda y la de la derecha.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Un 1.
A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the
Es la puerta de
data from
antes,
your
¿no?
previous playthrough, I've compiled a
No
new
sé.
version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué pone?
Ranking. Mundial. Lo que ha tardado la gente en pasarse el juego.
Espérate. No me jodas.
Este eres tú. 7 horas. ¿Qué dices? Digo, 7 minutos. No, 7 horas.
Se está quedando contigo. Quiere tirarte la
Me tiro por
moral
aquí otra vez.
por los suelos. Sí.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Pues otro 1.
No.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
No le voy a dar.
You heartless bastard. Did you
Descorazonado
do it
bastardo.
because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
¿Cómo?
Well, Stanley,
¿Cómo?
is this any better? At last, the one
¿Cómo?
thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it
Minecraft.
enough? Tell me,
¿Qué
Stanley,
coño es
will it
esto?
ever be enough? Well, I'll
But-
say this. I'm
Pero,
done making things for
¿qué?
you. From now on,
Hostia,
I
me
will
he
only
quedado
create
a
to fulfill
cuadros.
a greater artistic
Va a construir
purpose.
una casa.
Watch
Una
this,
casa,
Stanley.
dice.
I'm going to build a house.
Amigos suscriptores que estáis viendo este gameplay en este momento, ¿lo estáis viendo?
And then...
Estamos en el mundo de Minecraft.
Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. Ah, but you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable.
Una mierda, es una casa mejor. ¿No?
Es que
¿No
no puedo
puedes?
ir a ningún sitio.
Entonces no es el Minecraft 100% Minecraft.
Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
Venga, diamantes.
Qué paranoia.
Oh my.
Pero es la
It looks
música y
it's going
todo.
to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light? Oh, no, 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 no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
El Portal.
I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Hostia, qué bueno, amigos. Qué bueno. Estamos en el Portal.
Me voy a llevar la radio.
Hostia, qué currado este minijuego, ¿no?
Joder, ya verás.
Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte. Genius. No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt you're any wiser for the experience. Which is why, rather than continue to waste my time, I'm just going to leave you here. You can pretend you've beaten the game if it makes it any richer for you, but as for me, I've had enough. So, why don't you get cozy in this room, and if you have any grand revolutionary ideas for the perfect video
Me voy a quedar
game,
aquí.
you can just sit there and let it ball up inside you for all eternity.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Está todo sin terminar. Pone beta.
Terminar si no está ni casi empezado.
Vaya.
¿Y por dónde vamos?
Pero... ¿no te habla? ¿Te ha dejado solo?
Eso parece. Si
Tiene
no hay
luz.
suelo ni siquiera.
Pues bueno.
¿Hay que saltar o qué?
No, 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 no. No te
Es
fíes.
que no hay sitio. ¿Para dónde
¿No
ir?
puedes ir a otro lado?
¡Mierda! ¡No, no, no! Hostia, habitaciones 500 y pico. Esto más que sin acabar está como abandonado, ¿no? ¿Eh?
Sí, porque las paredes están así como deterioradas. Están deterioradas.
Más habitaciones. Mira, una luz.
¡Ey! Eso es. ¿Qué habitación es?
424. Casi es la de Stanley. 425. 2 más y es la de Stanley. Esta es la suya. ¿Y por qué está aquí?
No lo entiendo.
¿Qué pasa?
I
Ay,
wonder
qué
what he
paranoia.
found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Otra vez.
Venga ya, qué locura es esta, por favor. Creía que estábamos avanzando.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
Espérate, hay que pillarlo de alguna manera.
¿A quién?
Al narrador. Algo hay que hacer.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Espérate.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
¿Y si bajo por aquí?
Puedes probar, pero... Es que es todo tan confuso. Es todo tan confuso, es que no...
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Izquierda, ¿no?
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
¿Qué sitio es este? Qué raro, ¿no?
No,
Sí.
no, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's
Joder,
clearly...
venga ya.
Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Esta historia dice. ¿Cómo que esta historia?
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding?
El
It's all
despedido.
rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll
Mesa
just restart the game
432.
from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
¡Otra vez! ¿Qué paranoia es
¿Esto no
esta?
termina nunca o qué?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Es esta la mesa, ¿no?
Sí, la que hemos visto que habían despedido. Por eso no hay ordenador ni nada.
¿Y por qué lo
Han
despidieron?
recogido la mesa.
Qué paranoia. Yo estoy liado ya de una manera flipante, ¿eh?
When Stanley... Wait.
¿Cojones?
Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, Did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
¿Y esto? ¿Dónde vamos?
No lo sé. Supongo a esa de las sillas no, porque no puedes pegar saltos, ¿no?
Ah, pero
O esta se comunica con la de las sillas.
Sí, sí, sí.
Ah, vale, sí. Pues por aquí, porque si te han puesto vamos, si tienes la silla delante es por algo. Como que no quiere que vayas por ahí.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
No entiendo nada. Otra vez aquí.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ya no, narrador, ya no estamos contigo. Haz todos los intentos que quieras, que no vamos a hacer nada.
I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from.
Es que parece que se está liando incluso él, ¿eh?
Yo creo que
See
sí.
if we missed anything.
Ah, volvemos para atrás.
Está hecho un lío. Pues por esa habitación, ¿ves? ¿Que hay que volver para atrás?
Eso
¿Seguro?
parece.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes.
¿Cómo ha cambiado este sitio?
No lo sé. Ahora es azul.
¿Eh?
¿Qué?
¿Qué paranoia es esta?
No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Ah, pues salgamos por la puerta otra vez. ¿Cómo?
¿Pero qué ha hecho ahora, por favor?
Now
Vaya, pero
this...
si esto está
Well, I'll
reventado.
be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart.
Te está diciendo
All
por
right,
dónde tienes que
I've got
ir.
a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Ve al ordenador del despedido, al empleado. Ah, nada.
La línea de la aventura. Por aquí.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very
No te fías,
manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay, now if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct?
Me he liado ya.
Hang on, that got a bit
Madre
weird
mía.
back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all
¿Qué quiere, que
that.
hagamos parkour o
You
qué?
know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Vaya, la línea mal hecho todo. La cuenta atrás. Amigos, es la cuenta atrás de tu vida. La cuenta atrás de tu vida, ¿os acordáis? Madre mía, qué locura.
Madre mía. Qué paranoia.
Ey, espérate. Se mueve... Alguien ha tocado eso. ¿No?
Se parece. Madre mía, qué locura.
Madre mía. ¿Esto qué coño es? ¿Qué juego es este?
Sigamos la línea, venga.
Venga, vayamos por el techo.
Venga.
La. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Music, go back and look
Venga
at
ya,
that.
ahora que me lo estaba pasando bien con la música.
Regrese y mira ese lecho, dice. ¿Qué lecho?
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Vamos a mirarlo bien. ¿Por qué lo dirá? Yo qué sé. Madre mía.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
No tiene sentido esto que estoy viendo aquí ahora mismo.
Pues no.
Bueno, estaría aquí metido. En el pasillo. ¿Dónde vamos?
No lo sé, pero si tú has visto esto, que esto es un laberinto. Otra vez
Oh,
ahí.
no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us?
A ver, mira
After we
otra vez lo de
trusted you,
despedido.
After everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Madre mía. Qué mareo.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Vamos a saltarnos las reglas. Según
Eso es lo que
dice.
estamos haciendo desde
Sí.
hace mucho rato.
¿Será
Now,
bueno él?
yes,
¿O qué?
this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
No tiene sentido. ¿Cómo es posible esto?
No lo sé. Yo creo que Stanley está soñando. Esto es un sueño de esos que no tienen nada de sentido. Aquí solos, en esta oficina, sin salida.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to
La
veto
línea.
the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Que no le tenemos que hacer caso. Dice. ¿Por qué he ido por ahí?
Al piso de arriba, a lo mejor.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
¿Y eso? ¿Y si es el subconsciente de Stanley el que habla?
Puede ser también que lo sea.
Porque si me
Prueba a ir
si
por
me
la
ha hecho
otra
dar
puerta.
vueltas para pensar. Igual esto no abre. El final confuso.
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how
Venga, ya.
all this goes? It's all determined?
Está todo
schedule,
pensado.
I restart again. Then what?
Todo lo que ha pasado
Am I just supposed to
está aquí
forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget?
en los pasos
My mind
del
goes
final
blank
este.
simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide?
A ver por
Why
dónde
don't I
íbamos.
get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be.
Mira,
I
estamos
don't
por
want
aquí.
it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I
No
don't
podemos
want to
ir a
forget
ningún
what's
sitio o
going
hacer
on.
nada.
I don't want to
El
be
juego
trapped
se
like
reinicia
this.
por sí
I
mismo.
won't
aquí.
restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped. Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose
Vamos
in
a
some
sentarnos
way that
aquí.
this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
¿Qué ha sido eso? El pitido ese.
Acabamos de pasar al paso 7. No, paso 6 creo. ¿No? Que se reiniciaba automáticamente.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Madre mía, qué locura. O sea que aún tiene que pasar algo y al final no leí lo que ponía.
When Stanley
He
came to
leído
a
hasta
set
el
of two
punto
open
7.
doors,
El
he entered the
reinicio,
door on his
no,
left.
hasta el reinicio 6. Al
Y habían 8. Espérate, ¿y si reinicio yo? ¿Eh?
Tú,
Sí.
yo qué sé. Si te digo la verdad, no lo sé.
Espérate, voy a reiniciar.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors...
Voy a reiniciar otra vez. Así lo descolocamos o algo. ¿No eran 8 reinicios o algo así?
Sí, ahora estás en el 8º. Supuestamente el último.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Espérate, así no era. Así no era el pasillo.
Pues no, así no era. Este pasillo azul no estaba.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
¿Y qué pasa entonces? ¿Que vamos a estar así siempre?
La historia es que cada vez de una forma distinta.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Un coche.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking
Pues
mysteriously
sí, loco.
out of
Eso
existence
es lo que
in a
estamos
single
pensando
moment
nosotros.
for no
Y lo que nos
reasonable
va a
doubt.
pasar ya mismo, como
None of it
sigamos
made
aquí
any
con esta
logical
paranoia.
sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the
Quieres.
ground.
Está
Then
volando.
he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Muchas gracias por ver este vídeo. Recuerda que tenemos una página en Facebook, un perfil en Twitter y ask.fm. Puedes ver cuáles son justo a la derecha del vídeo. Abajo te dejamos unos vídeos que tal vez te interesen. Pincha en ellos para verlos. No olvides darle a me gusta si te ha gustado. Suscríbete para estar a la última de nuestro canal. Ah, y no te olvides de comentar y compartir.